Hello, everyone. My name's Matt. I'm your game master for tonight, and always in Symbaroum. This is mine. No one will take it from me. Welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric tabletop role-playing actual plays and stream them for you here on Twitch, and then we put them on YouTube too. How wonderful! Let's get that pesky, horrible promo out of the way. There's a bunch of links down below. Links to our YouTube, links to our Twitch. You're watching on one. Please check us out on the other. There's links to other things like our social media, our Patreon, our Discord. Those all do the things you might expect them to do. Please have a look at them if you're interested. We run 3 ongoing weekly campaigns here on Twitch. Each of them starts at 8 o'clock in the evening, GMT time. And they consist of Mondays, which is Shadows of Esteren, Wednesdays, which is Symbaroum, and Thursdays, which is a lovely, lovely World of Darkness anthology series. Please go check that out. We just launched it and we're having a lot of fun with it. It's basically compiling a bunch of the systems from World of Darkness together in a sort of set of anthology arcs. It's ambitious and wonderful, if I do say so myself. We also run one-shots on the first weekend of every month. The next one coming up is one that was voted for by you fine people out there as a sequel to one we've already done this year. And we're going to be playing another Fria Ligan game. We're going to be playing Alien, the sequel to our one-shot A Place of Burning, which we did back in February. And that'll take place on Sunday, December the 5th in the afternoon in GMT time. But I'm sure check our schedule close to the time and you'll be able to see when it's on wherever you are. That's all the promo. How exciting, how wonderful. Let's start bringing on the players we have for our ongoing Throne of Thorns campaign, and they can start telling you what happened last time. First off, we're going to bring on Mike, who plays Anton, Theurg of Prios, holy man, but not blessed by certain random number generator gods. I think it's safe to say. There he is. There's the wonderful Anton. So you're down in a horrible sinkhole underneath Thistlehold, exploring, trying to find God knows what. How did that kick off, Mike?
We did a bit of a recce of this cavern system. Started off just by the sinkhole where we first came down in this big initial main chamber. There was a few branching paths off there. We made the decision to go east. I don't know if you've got the map up that we can.
I do. And also, because John is handling our images tonight, John, I sent it to you on Discord. So if you want to have a rummage for that and pop it up while Mike carries on, that'd be great.
Sure. So we initially made the decision to head east. I think to kind of follow the water, the stream from the main chamber. There we found another chamber, and we kind of followed the stream further up to the kind of east-northeast there, where this kind of water got increasingly hot. But we didn't go too far along that hot stream passageway, and instead decided to go back down to the south and loop back around to this dry southern passage back to the main chamber. And at that point, we then decided to head to the west, slightly to the northwest, I suppose. And yeah, I think that we've got someone else telling us about what happened.
We do. What happened when we went over there. And I think we'll probably want to be just skipping back to this map in between character portraits, John, if that's all right with you. And speaking of John, John is our second player to be introduced. John plays Arin Dar, scion of House Dar, last scion of House Dar, of a noble house. And duelist, gentleman, and unfortunate skipper of stones, as we're about to find out. So, what did you find in those western passageways, John?
We found a huge lake, cavern, underground thing, which we ended up on. We came from the west, obviously, the east shore of it, and we could just about see like a nearby promontory coming from the north. So we're assuming another tunnel must go round, and we can hopefully see what's on the other side. But we were also with the Ordo Magica I can never remember his name because the name I've got written down and the name you keep using are two different names, and I can't remember what his actual
Well, that
name is.
speaks well of my GMing. His full name is Master Cullinan Furia.
That's it. Furia could see something in the north, but seemed to be fairly quiet about what he could see. And then Aaron got really bored and wanted to see how far he could skip a stone. And everyone lost their minds because apparently some people saw a giant humanoid figure swimming in the water. But, maybe they were just getting carried away.
Sure, it was definitely more of a kind of large, pale humanoid figure, not actually like a giant
No.
or anything like that. Just so we know, but yeah, that sounds about right. Then we struck out to the north of the cavern to try and see what was up in that direction, and to talk about that, let's bring on Stephen, who plays Elindra, former novice Templar turned sellsword. Stephen, what was up to the north?
So we headed up the passage to the north. There was a crossroads there, and we took the east fork of that. Well, I think we looked at all of them, but the east one contained a room that seemed to be sort of part storeroom, part workshop, sort of evidence of I guess kind of barbarian tribes having been there quite recently. We found like a red gemstone brooch. We found some, I believe, modern kind of Ambrian money.
Yeah, some literally minted in Thistlehold coinage. Yeah.
So obviously it had been used as some kind of base of operations, and there'd been busy folks down there.
Absolutely. And then further to the north, there was a guard post, and at the guard post, Anton had a little bit of a revelation about these goods that were found, these kind of barbarian tribe goods. And to tell us about that revelation, because he's as much of a nerd about the Symbaroum background as I am, let's bring on Chris, who plays Steo, former infantryman turned city guard turned sellsword, who can tell us about this shocking revelation.
Hey everyone, let's all learn about the wages of colonialism. So it turns out the detritus on the floor was Jezedite from the additional tribe of barbarians, the first tribe of barbarians, the Ambrian refugees encountered as they came over the mountains. The tribe who inhabited the plains and the tribe who inhabited Yindaros, now the capital city of Ambria. I bet you're starting to realize what happened to these. They objected to the arrival of this new army, this I suppose, and just ended up drawing up battle lines and having a very short, very one-sided battle against the stricken and well-practiced armies of the Empress. And
yes,
we're all wiped out, except
absolutely.
for these
apparently
ones.
Apart from this group under Thistlehold, who I think we are reaching some conclusions now about the identity broke in the very start of this story, that broke onto the surface of Thistlehold and laid waste to a significant portion of the town. Bad times. And to finish off, to kind of let us know where we left off last week, let's bring on our final player, Sam. Sam plays Askarai, changeling ranger, all around kind of DPS Marvel machine. And why don't you finish us off there, Sam?
So I think at that point we discussed a little bit where we wanted to go next, if we wanted to press further north or investigate the lake or anything else. And I think it was Master Furia who basically suggested that we kind of clear out the passages to the east, just so we don't have anything at our back before we go and investigate the other two things. And so that is what we did. We followed the river, the small river, through the the kind of large-ish cavern we'd already been through, up another narrower passageway, and it began to get kind of uncomfortably hot, perhaps painfully hot. We made it into another larger cavern, which I think had even more sort of life and moss.
Yeah, a lot kind of fluorescent algae and fungus and moss everywhere for sure.
Yeah, and in this cavern, we sort of heard some noise, which we assumed to be kind of water running or gurgling somewhere, and we just went towards that. And as we did so, I think a couple of us suddenly realized that this noise was coming from some rather unfriendly looking kind of, I think, silvery lizard creatures.
Yeah, kind of whitish, grayish, silvery, lizard, reptile creature things, which promptly swarmed forwards. I believe, because it's worth noting for anyone who's joining us that the players here are part of like a larger expedition. There's a whole bunch of NPCs and also faceless red shirts with them. At this, your companion / mortal enemy, Serixatio, I believe, screamed the words "Time for some fucking blood," and battle was joined, fighting off these underground reptilian monstrosities. And that's exactly where we're going to pick up, folks. We're going to pick up into a Symbaroum combat. So I hope you're settled in for the next hour and a half. No, it's not. It's not that protracted, but yeah, let's get on with that. I think John has a lovely initiative banner ready for us already. Lovely. Look at that. So yeah, these things are coming at you. They were going to ambush you, but you all, like, people made the vigilant roll, so they're not. They're just kind of rushing forwards towards you now. So here's what we're going to do. Obviously, there's going to be NPCs doing various things, but as usual, I'm just going to like keep them to a narrative bit at the end, and we'll just deal with the ones that are attacking you. And right now, there are going to be one of them coming for each of you. How convenient. So with that in mind, Askarai, you are going first. So, worth noting as well, I believe Anton starts with his blessed shield up. Yes, I think you I won't activated sounds so gamey, but you kind of you invoked the will of Prios to protect yourself before the battle started. So that's already up and running. Askarai, I don't want to presume, but I'm guessing that bow is going to get whipped out.
Yes, it definitely is, and I think I'm going to selfishly shoot at the one coming towards me.
Sure. Protect your backline DPS, folks. That's what you do. Yeah, absolutely. Well, its defense is +2, so you can go ahead and make a roll on that. Your first roll, because I'm sure we're going to get a second one.
+2, so I need a 17. I got a 7, so I make it.
Lovely.
I roll a D10 +1 for damage, and I get a 1 + 1 is 2.
Your first arrow and it's probably the first thing to happen in the combat. You know, Serix is charging forward just into the mass of them, and the others, I believe I said, like Marvello had drawn up the city guard and a battle line had been formed. Like Furia is inside it, Elfano is inside it, Yagaba is inside it. I think that's all the NPCs. Ganderald is in there. Basically, the city guard are protecting and holding, while the sort of mystics and Theurg is inside the circle. But I'd say your arrow is the first thing that actually, happens, the first contact that's made. And it's not auspicious, as it visibly splinters apart on the scales of the bucking and writhing and hissing thing, scrambling over the moss cavern floor towards you. You have a second shot, Askarai.
Yes, I'm gonna take it and try and aim a bit better, maybe. I need a 17. I got an 11, so I hit. And D10, I got a 3 + 1 is 4.
That second arrow follows the same way as the first. Just splintering open against those what seem to be, to your eyes here, iron hard scales. So not a terribly auspicious start for Askarai. Your DPS is failing, folks. Elindra, what would you like to do? I don't think you've got Revenant Strike up or anything, right?
I don't have Revenant Strike, and I'm not going to take the opportunity to put up Revenant Strike because I'm still a bit self-conscious about all these theurgs about the place.
You are literally stood next to the first theurg of Thistlehold. Maybe it's not a good idea to invoke a sorcerer's power. Innocently, though, you may be in possession of it.
I work on the assumption that he sort of knows or has sort of heard, but I don't want him to see it.
Sure.
So I am just going to go. Like, am I within range to sort of move in for?
Yeah, if you move forward, you can definitely take a swing at the one coming at you.
Okay, so I picked up a new trick recently, which is two-handed finesse, which I think means I get a free attack upon engagement and then an attack. I'm basically borrowing from Steo's playbook here.
Absolutely. Does that sound right, folks? Sorry, I don't have the rules for two-handed finesse.
Two-handed
It gives it long, right?
Yeah.
Which, on engaging something that does not have a long weapon itself, you get a free attack. That's absolutely correct.
So we'll do a free attack. So that's +2, you say?
It is indeed at +2.
I need a 17. I get a 7. Ah, snap.
Lovely. And that damage roll there?
That's going to be a D12. 2.
Again, let's say that your longsword glances off the creature's flank as it kind of rears back with a hiss and tries to close in with you again, but you're going to get that your actual attack before that as well if you want.
So let's go and do that now, I suppose. We get another 7 for the attack and a 9 this time.
Okay, someone has drawn blood. So you as this thing kind of like rears back and then comes in at you again, this time kind of even more furious from the first strike that glanced off its hide, you manage to sort of use your footwork to dodge around it slightly, and you instead try a draw cut along it, kind of forcing your blade in and just drawing backwards with all the strength of your shoulder. And this time, scales part, flesh parts, and you've left it with not a deep wound, but a wound along its back, which it's clearly feeling from the change in tone of the hissing that you detect from it. So I think that's Aaron then. John?
Yes, I lost my mouse cursor for a moment. I'm going
Remember, we have hotkeys on StreamYard now.
We do, but I can't find my mouse cursor. What chance do I have of finding keys on a keyboard? Like,
sure, yeah.
Come on. Yes, I'm going to. I think I've already drawn both my weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stab at one.
Absolutely. That's a +2 on defense.
+2. So I have a target of 18, and I hit with 15, and I only roll 4 damage.
Unfortunately, you're. Are you now fighting with the Sword of House Dar, or is that too valuable to be?
I don't have the stats for the Sword of House Dar.
Sword of House Dar does not have stats other than it's a sword.
Then basically I'm keeping my, because I don't think it's like a rapier, is it?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's more of a long sword. So I guess you've got like your fencing saber, right?
Yeah, I'm carrying it with me, like slightly behind my fencing saber, but I still fight with.
Well, your fencing saber, unfortunately, your first thrust does not hit home on the creature. I mean, it hits it, but the saber edge just glances off. Do you have any kind of second attacks or anything like that, or is it just
only when they try and hit me?
Oh yeah, you have a response attack, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's your lucky day, John, because it's going to hit you. All of them are going to dash up to their target, i.e., each of you, and are going to attack. So let's go round, kind of from the viewers left. So let's start with Aaron. Why not? It's just a flat defense roll. They have no modifier to it. So
Okay.
just your normal defense, please, John.
Target 14. I rolled a 10, which is a success, which means I can perform a riposte,
Lovely.
which is just a counterattack,
Nice.
which is a hit with 5 damage this time.
Again, the saber
Ah.
glances off.
This is all just like reconnaissance, so we know exactly what it's armor.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
The thing is, we absolutely know that sooner or later, Askarai's just going to go, "Oh, I've dealt 23 damage or something."
I gotta do-
It'll be made.
I am not good against things that have a lot of armor. I don't think I'm gonna
That's
do. I'm gonna struggle.
I think we have had it before where you've dealt about 24 damage in one round. But against things that have a lot of armor, you're not as powerful, certainly. This thing is coming at you now. Now, Sam. So might be time to roll your defense again. No modifier.
Need a 15. I rolled a 9, so I made it.
Okay. Yep. The creature kind of snaps for you, but you manage to skip away unharmed. One of them is now coming for Steo, and that means
engaged?
that means Steo gets to hit it first. So
this is a free attack. So so I have the Master of Man at Arms just to talk the audience through my logic
So
here.
is that a Man at Arms or Polearm Mastery? Isn't it?
Polearm Mastery, even, which basically allows me to play keep away with these things for as long as necessary. I'm not going to use it because I don't think this is the right situation.
No, that's more for like tanking multiple things or whatever,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's also more of a tactical thing to do rather than a kind of melee thing to do. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to take my free attack,
Sure.
which is the intermediate level of Polearm Mastery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's +2, isn't it?
Yes. Is that the intermediate level of? I think that's just having a long weapon, isn't it?
No. Long weapon is occasionally I get a free attack. If I get attacked and the person doesn't have a long weapon, then the intermediate level of Polearm Mastery is there are no caveats. If someone comes within my range, I get a free attack on them.
Yeah. I think this would actually apply with long as well in this particular circumstance. But yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Oh, miss.
That's a bad miss. Well, it's going to snap for you nevertheless. So why don't you give us a defense roll with no modifier, please?
After all of my preamble, it came to nothing. Oh, critical defense.
Critical defense. That's what we like to see here on Telling Tales. I wonderfully didn't have my cheat sheet open, but now I
think
do.
That's a riposte attack.
I think that's just a free attack back, right? Perfect defense. Yeah, you get another free attack back on it.
Okay, let's go.
This is going to be a complicated combat narration, Chris. What
That's
are you
the
doing?
second failure.
Oh,
I'm going
complicated combat narration. Here you go. It comes at you, you miss. It misses you, and then you miss it back. Right.
I miss it already.
No, yeah, sure. It comes in on you too fast for your initial thrust to strike home, but too fast itself for it to actually, it kind of almost skids around to the side as it's snapping at you. You wheel around and try a quick thrust in again, but both of you have just kind of now like pace it, kind of like circling a bit each other while the rest of the combat erupts around you. Elindra.
Hi.
Hi.
I just had to frantically go check the rule book to check my assumption, which is, I think this is right. The skill that turns my sword into counting as a long sword only counts when an enemy first comes into combat range, right? So that's happened.
Correct. Yeah, it's now engaged, so you don't get a further.
I don't get a free defense like Steo does.
Correct.
So I rolled my defense. I needed a 13. I got an 18. So it's going to hurt.
What Steo just did, by the way, that was basically what you did last turn. But,
Yes, yeah,
but
yeah.
he,
But I can't
it
do that
came at
again.
him rather than yeah.
Unless we break off and come back together again.
Yeah. It only triggers once.
Yeah.
Except that Steo also has the option to drive it out to make it re-engage and get another free attack.
That's right.
Which is ridiculous. So you failed your defense, is that right?
I did. That's right.
And have you done your armor roll?
Oh no, I haven't actually. It's a D8.
Pretty
Get a
chunky armor.
5.
Well, you know what? That's just about good enough. The thing kind of has hissed and kind of spat at you, and one of its claws, which are kind of low to the ground and squat, kind of think of them almost as like, you know how people used to think dinosaurs looked? That kind of like low, squat, unpleasant kind of lizard, and it swipes out with claws that just rake across, I don't know, one of your kind of, you've got some kind of plate just on your forearm, right? And it just rakes across that with a horrible kind of piercing screech, but doesn't manage to penetrate. Anton, your defense, please, friend.
Oh boy.
Oh boy,
No, don't make it.
What? So how's about that armor? And don't forget your blessed shield.
5.
5 in total?
Yeah.
Much a similar story to Lindra. It snaps at you with its horrible kind of rotten smelling fangs, but you're not sure whether it's your robe kind of like just getting in the way of the bite, but it kind of rears away spitting with some kind of slight burns across its face, and you think perhaps even in this dark underground place where there is no sun, Prios is still watching over you. Steo. Were you expecting damage?
Yeah, a little bit. And also, I wasn't expecting that enemy to take some damage. Maybe I don't know if it did.
No, it did. It was just minorration. It's just minorration.
Okay.
No, they're not abominations. So
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know what your next step would have been if they were abominations.
Yeah.
So, like, no. It's still useful. It's still useful for healing everyone. But
yeah, sure.
Steo, it's your turn. I take it you're attacking it.
I'm going to take the attack roll. Thank you very much. Once again, can I roll lower than 18 on a 20-sided dice?
It'd be good.
4. Hooray.
There we go. Lovely. Give us that damage roll, please, friend.
And this is D10 plus 1. 4.
Well, that is not enough, I'm afraid, and your bronze spear kind of rams into the flank of the thing, and it definitely really feels it. But when you withdraw, you see no blood, no damage scales, nothing like that. The hide on these creatures is significant, but if there's one guy who can take it down in one shot, it's gotta be Anton.
Let's go.
What are you doing?
Save us for God's
I'm
sake.
flailing.
Yes.
I'm flailing.
I rolled a 2. That's a good start.
That's a good start. I mean, it's the same as any other result but 1. But yeah. What's your damage there?
It is 1.
Turns out, if you want to damage a really tough, like almost metal-like hide on a creature, turns out balls on a chain, not the way particularly to do it. Yeah, you slam into it with your flail, but you're not sure, in all honesty, it even felt it.
I'm so glad that we didn't get ambushed here, guys. Like, it's really nice to get like that upper hand straight away in the combat.
Yeah, good. It's good to really, especially with Ascarai taking 3 of them down in the first round. So let's go on to round 2 of our 30-round fight against these tank lizards.
Is Exatio not going to do any of the work now he started this fight?
Well, no, yeah, sure. I will go into how the NPCs are reacting. Absolutely. So you can hear kind of like a general hubbub of fighting, kind of the gasps and cries and cracks and squeals of the city guard kind of around you, driving them back. You hear Marvello kind of his voice roaring over the general melee, shouting orders for various of his soldiers, kind of like pull back a step, use your shield, push forwards, like shouted to various people as he's doing that, fending off one of his own. You can hear kind of like murmurs and odd sounds behind you all as kind of the group behind you goes to work. Let's say, let's have a lovely random roll to determine something. Anton, in the corner of your vision, you see Master Furia kind of stride forward from the group and kind of whisper something under his breath. His hand flings forward and a flow of incredibly hot, smoky brimstone pours out all over one of the creatures, which writhes and hisses and at first seems to resist this heat. Presumably, it lives in this spring cave, and then as it paces a couple of steps forward, the kind of defiant hiss turns to a high-pitched shrieking chatter as it starts kind of convulsing and burning under the weight of flow from this master mystic. Oh, and further in front, you can probably see the shadow of Serix Atio on the edge of the light. And all you can see is this glittering long blade just swinging round slowly in great circles, with the occasional kind of like sort of spray coming from the end of it and splatting all over the mossy walls. It seems that Serix is doing just fine for himself. And while no one can see him, I think it's safe to say everyone can hear him. So, background to the beginning. Askarai, it is engaging with you, friend. So, is it knife time, or are you gonna? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna swap weapons, but not to my knife. I have a new-ish fencing sword that I got off a black cloak, I think, and I'm gonna swap to that and try to fence this horrible lizard thing.
Yeah. Does and that counts with your feint stuff, right? It doesn't have to be short to work with feint.
It has to be short or precise, and a fencing sword has precise.
Sure. So yeah, your movement action is from drawing. So yeah, have an attack at it, +2 defense.
Okay, so I think I need an 18 because of precise gives it an extra point.
I think so, yeah.
I got a 15, so I make it. I have an advantage, which gives me a D4 due to my feint ability. So I roll a D8 and a D4. And I get 9 damage.
Not bad. Not bad. You have significantly more success, which is unusual for you, with a melee weapon than with your bow and arrow. You get the measure. These are they're fast, but they're not hugely agile creatures. And you manage to kind of whip it round to the side, maybe using your the Hagranor cloak, the Lindworm cloak, presumably enraging the creature. That's one of its reptilian cousins. Has been made into a clothing item. And you manage to drive that that fencing sword into maybe just kind of under one arm, and you're not sure you cut terribly deeply, but you've definitely wounded it.
Nice.
So
take that.
That's good. So what does your feint, does it always give you an advantage?
Yeah, I'll read the ability.
Because I know it allows you to do melee attacks using discreet, right?
Yeah, the character can choose to attack with discreet instead of accurate when the attack is made with a melee weapon which is either short or precise. Also, every such attack gains the same advantage as if the opponent was surprised.
Cool. So that's actually, you also should have added an extra +2 to your attack roll, I think, if it gives you advantage. So you
11 damage.
Oh no, sorry, +2 to the attack, not to the damage.
Oh, yes, that's right. I do add that because my discreet is 13, so +2 is 15, and then +2 from the creature, +1 from precise, 18.
Right, gotcha. 18. Yes. Yeah, works out. Lovely stuff. Okay, Alindra, it's your turn.
I'm going to attack the dinosaur with the sword.
What?
I know, crazy, right? That's a 1.
Hey,
attack.
Nice.
so that's nice. So in that case, that is a plus d6 to your damage roll.
Ooh, lovely. Okay, let's see. Oh, 3.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. So what was that? Was that a d12 and a d6?
That was a 1 on the d8. And oh no, wait, it's a d12 and a d6. No, or a d8, d6. Well, the d6 is a 2. The d12 would be a 11.
I was going to say, because you've got
that's more
two-handed
like it.
force, haven't you? So
Yes,
a two-handed
yes,
weapon
yes.
is d12. Yeah,
Sorry, my mistake. That is going to be 12 in total then.
that's much more respectable.
Yes.
12 in total, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so unfortunately not over its pain threshold, but it may not surprise you to learn, given the amount of armor it has, hitting over its pain threshold is really tough.
Yeah.
This time your blow cuts deep properly, the way you're more used to. It's another draw cut. It's the technique that worked last time, and it's left with a huge gouge kind of all the way along its flank. You can see and perhaps more importantly smell the insides of the creature kind of quivering and vibrating slightly in the gash between the scales. It does not look happy with you, and neither does it look predisposed to flee.
Okay. I think we might not be friends.
Not anymore, certainly.
No.
So, Aaron.
Okay, I'm going to try and slash at it. That is a hit with 15, where I needed 18, and 8 damage.
Not bad. Not bad. This time, maybe. Do you think maybe you might have glanced over at Alindra and seen how Alindra did it? Something like that.
I think I may have caught it out of the corner of my eye. Yeah.
Yeah. In which case, maybe that's what you try as well. Maybe you also try and draw cut harder with your fencing saber, but still not difficult. You know, you can place a hand behind the saber and run it along, and you do that along the creature's face, leaving a nasty gash that kind of, it's definitely nowhere close to a mortal wound. But again, it's not happy and snaps at you with renewed fervor. But you've definitely hurt the creature, and there's blood kind of like, you can like see kind of a sort of greyish ichor left across your sword as you step back away from it with practiced footwork.
Excellent.
Time for them to attack you, folks. And I see no reason not to go around in that same order again. So let's start with you, Aaron.
Okay.
In fact, go ahead, everyone, and just make your defense rolls at just flat defense rolls. So when I come around to you, we already know.
With a target 14 and a roll of 13, I succeed. So I'm going to do a free attack back.
Lovely stuff.
It's annoying because I would have rolled 8 armor, but
Ah, well. It's not that annoying.
Well, no, I guess. 17 and 8 damage again.
Again, mate, I'm imagining in my head here, and as with all of my combat narration, feel free to go, no, it happens this way. But I can imagine you kind of like cutting along with one draw cut, and then maybe literally kind of, because you're an agile fencing kind of a guy, right? Do you have like a short blade as well, or is it just
dagger? Yeah,
you have a parrying dagger as well? And you know what, maybe you have that parrying dagger there, and you brace and do the draw cut, and then with your offhand you stab out into the creature and plunge that dagger kind of into its cheek along the gash you've made, and it makes contact, and like a horrible kind of vibration as you draw across. You feel like maybe you've gouged out some of its teeth on the inside, and you pull it back, and it rears away from you with a kind of noise. And you haven't, was that 8 damage, did you say?
Yes.
In total? Yeah, it's, again, nothing close to a mortal wound, but you're definitely hurting it considerably. So, Askarai, how did you do with your defense?
I made it just about. I rolled a 15, which is exactly what I needed.
Wonderful. Again, yours is driven to distraction by that lindworm cloak. Steo, how about you?
I made it with a 3.
defense rolls on point tonight, gentlemen. Elindra, how about you?
I needed a 13 and I got a 12.
Wonderful. Mike?
Happy to let the side down. Didn't make it.
Hey, you've got a niche. Stick to it.
Right.
Cool. So how is
armor roll?
Your
Armor roll is
yeah.
4 in total.
It's 4 in total. Okay. This time, like the creature, I think last time I said it tried to bite through. It tries to do that again. And again, there's sort of a twinkling and like little sparks appear around it. But it manages to get through just a little bit, the slightest bit, and sort of nips at your knee. And you feel some of the kind of skin on the front of your knee kind of like tear and cut through. And you feel like a little warm fluid running down the front of your shin, but definitely nothing, it hasn't bitten your patella off or anything. Just take 1 toughness.
Grand.
And it's worth noting, by the way, I know folks, although it's the end of like a little damage, a little attack round here, we don't normally acknowledge kind of following and subscribing on things. It kind of gets in the way. We save them all up to the end. But thank you, H. Aberg. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that the way it's intended. A 6-month subscription at Tier 1. Thank you so much. I don't think we've had a multi-month subscription before. Ooh. Exciting stuff. Thank you very much. So, Steo.
Okay. Please, can I do some damage now? Let's find out.
If it were up to me, you do damage every day, Chris.
I rolled a 4, which is damage.
How much damage?
D10 plus 1 damage. 9!
Perfectly respectable damage. I think with you, I think you can't really draw cut with a spear. You kind of can, but not really. I think more with you, it's a case of trying to find those soft underparts, right? So maybe as I think I've said you're kind of circling with this creature, it leaps out at you and you drop to a low guard, thrust forward. You're not entirely sure. You can't see what you did, but you felt resistance, and then the resistance kind of broke, like a kind of popping feeling, and you withdraw your spear, and it has that grayish ichor over the end of it. So whatever you did did some damage. So that is all good. Anton, much better round this time, mate. Let's cap it off with your bold one-shot kill. People who haven't watched this may think we're joking. Mike has terrible luck overall, but every now and then, Anton just goes kind of full psycho and kills a mini boss in one strike or something.
Yeah, so I rolled a 19.
Yeah. Beautiful, wonderful. But don't you get a backswing now? Don't you with your
because it's like an odd number fail.
Right.
Yeah, I get to roll a d6.
And is it just D6 damage?
Yeah, 4.
Okay. That doesn't go through its armor, and just for future reference, it cannot go through its armor. That's that strike you have, so don't bother with it. Not because I hate you, because it has, as people may have calculated already, it has 6 armor. So
yeah.
But you hit it. You swing and a miss, hit, and then back with the hit, but it doesn't. Don't care. So, on to describing the NPCs. You can hear a kind of cry of pain and fear further down the line, and everyone can see that one of the creatures is kind of on top of one of the city guard and is kind of scrabbling at the shield and snapping over the top of it. The city guard, they are mostly holding the line, but this particular individual is in trouble. Marvello has kind of slammed his shield into the face of the one opposing him and is desperately trying to make it over to the member of his squad before they get devoured by this creature. Behind everyone, and probably Anton, you can probably sense more than others, there's a kind of sensation of warmth against all of your backs. kind of pressing against you and driving you forward, and it feels different to the steamy warmth of the cave itself. It feels comforting and very kind of fresh and odd for such a relatively grim and dank place. So, Askarai, we are back to you, I believe.
Okay, I'm gonna make another feint / attack to stab this creature.
Sounds good.
I've also just read that this weapon I'm using has +1 damage as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so
Is that deep impact or something like that?
Yeah, deep impact. Okay, so but
are you sure yours doesn't,
I'm-
Aaron?
I'm pretty sure, but I'm.
It might.
now
Is it because you bought like a really high quality weapon, Askarai?
No, I got this off the Black Cloak.
Oh, okay.
So
Fair enough.
apparently Black Cloaks have good weapons. But yeah, first I need to hit, so I need 18 or less, and I rolled a 7, so I do hit.
There we go.
And then it's a D8, a D4 +1, and I get 8 total.
That is not bad, and pretty much, again, it's a case of just finding the right point and thrusting between those scales for you. And you said it was 8, right?
Yep.
Again, you feel like it's, with these things, it's death by 1,000 cuts. But at least you're cutting it and it's not cutting you at the moment. Thanks to you, all your guys' sterling defense rolls, all of you. So, Elindra, we're on to you. Unless there's anything you want to do with your movement action. Sorry, Askarai. Should be asking about it.
Well, I mean, can I use Beast Law to know if I know what these things are?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, go for it. It's a cunning roll, right?
Yep. I need a 10. I rolled a 20, so...
pretty sure these are some kind of really big, weird dog.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't. You don't know what they are. Tell you what, for your 20, I'll give you. How about I give you the notion that you have the notion that people might want to avoid their blood. You think you've heard of these things, and you think they have acidic blood.
Okay.
Obviously, we've already established they don't, but maybe Askarai is kind of convinced of this. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Elindra.
Hi. So I am going to attack the big weird dog. I'm going to see if I can open up, the wound that we've already created on the side a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The general tactics, but let's have a look. That is a success on the hit, and we're going to do D12 damage. That's an 11.
That's an 11. And you know what, Elindra? That is perfect. So you mentioned you wanted to kind of open up the wound at the side of it. I'll do you one better than that. As it's kind of wheeling around now, you feel it's losing a lot of blood and also some insides sliding down the side there, and it's starting to really slow in how it's like turning, because these things, they scrabble forward real fast, but they're not all that hot on the side. The sideways turns, being these low squat creatures. You see it struggle and kind of huff to take a breath, and kind of you feint to one side, it turns in that direction, and then you dodge fast in the other one, and you draw back that longsword and you thrust and plunge it kind of hand and then wrist deep inside the creature. You feel kind of gristle and muscle and heart on the end of your blade, and you feel them kind of like rupture and kind of come apart under the blow. And by the time you reach your hand back, which is now stinking and dripping with the creature's gore, it's already kind of it died before you withdrew that sword. It's flopped on the floor dead with one long dark tongue lolling out of its mouth.
Do I see this?
Yes.
I would shout to Elindra, "It's blood! Get his blood off you!"
The blood feels fine.
I'm gonna look a combination of confusion and just being kind of pleased with myself,
Absolutely. So you have a movement action left. Do you want to engage any of the remaining ones?
Ooh, yes. Do I get a choice? I don't know.
Yeah, you can. I think because you're fighting alongside your friends.
Yeah.
So if you want to go further afield than that, that might be either 2 movement actions or maybe a quick roll and a movement action. But if you want to engage any of your friend, any of the ones fighting your friends, that's absolutely fine.
Engage my friends. I'd say, like, traditionally speaking, it's probably Anton that needs the extra help. So I will head over there.
That is tradition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Aaron, I think we're on to you.
Okay. Boldened by the gross display that's just happened beside me. I rolled a 20.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. So that is a fumbled defense, which means it's a free attack from the target. Here's an interesting thing. If they miss, do you get a free attack back? As part of your riposte?
I think so.
Yeah. It might be worth checking that it is what's the name of that ability, and is it in the core book or the advanced players book?
It's Sword Saint, and I think it's in the advanced.
It's in the advanced players book. You know what? You go ahead and roll your defense, and I will find that and look it up, because it's possible it says something like you get this against standard attacks or something like that. Let's have a look. How did you do on that attack anyway?
That is a success. I rolled a 9.
Sorry, on the defense. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sword Saint. What level is it? What level you got it at? Sorry.
I've got Master.
Master, okay. After 1 successful defense per turn.
On Master, it's no limitations.
Oh, with each 6. Yeah, that's fine then. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. That is much better. 15. And it's only a 6 damage.
Oh well. Yeah, you strike out for it and kind of overextend. It swings its head up to kind of snap at your arm, which you whip out of the way and manage to try and thrust into its eye with the dagger, but it just twists its head too fast, and you glance off, leaving you both just, I was going to say just glaring at each other, just like both used to that, but both facing off with each other. And we're on to the lizard things again. So, Aaron, why don't you roll me a defense, which will probably be followed by another attack from you?
Probably.
Have you got a really good defense?
Not really. My defense is only 14, but I'm just rolling really well on this.
Defense 14 is pretty good.
It's 2/3 chance.
And it's worthwhile with that build having a really strong defense as well, because you just get free attacks off the back of it.
Yeah. Yes, that is a success because I rolled a 2.
Okay, then give me an attack.
That is a hit, but only 3 damage.
Okay. In that case, you strike out at it again, kind of like riposting with your dagger, but it doesn't manage to pierce the creature's scales. Everyone else but Elindra, go ahead and roll defense, by the way. Askarai, how does yours go?
I made it. I rolled a 3.
And Stia rolled a 2 there. I could see that, so that's all good. Anton.
Rolled a 5. I make it.
Hey! We are nailing these defense rolls tonight, guys. Like, you're definitely chopping these things to pieces slowly but surely, but they're getting nothing in return apart from a knee scratch on Anton. So, with that in mind, let's move on to Stio. Stio, thrust away. It's a 14, so that's a hit, I think.
I just used my keyboard shortcuts. Yes, 14 is a hit. That's D10 plus 1. 9!
There we go. Perfectly respectable. So again, I think just the same thing again, perhaps. Just like a low thrust, feeling something giving way, and I think this thing now is definitely suffering from what you're doing to it. It's kind of trying to keep itself low to the ground and is giving off this kind of like low gurgling hiss, and everywhere it moves across the moss leaves like a trail of this grey sludgy ichor along it, kind of soaking the ground underneath it with its horrible fluids. Anton.
Try and attack. 12. Which, makes it.
Cool.
Yes.
No, sorry, it doesn't make it.
Boo.
It's got +2, right?
It does have +2.
Yeah, no, I don't make it. Just by 1.
Is your accuracy 9?
Yeah.
Shit.
Save me, Alindra. You're my only hope.
So we're back round to the NPCs. Marvello has a couple of the other city guard have kind of tried to lock their shields together, or at least overlap them with each other, and they've driven back the one that was on Marvello. And Marvello has kind of leapt over to the young guard who's been kind of knocked over to the floor, and is sort of like leaning with one knee on the back of the reptile, kind of just trying to stab at it and drive it off. Furia has also turned his attentions on it, and is kind of pouring that molten brimstone over the back of the creature to try and drive it off. And also, let's say we have. From the one thing I could have rolled that didn't give me a result I needed twice, 3 times. I just rolled 3 6s in a row when I need anything but a 6. There we go. Anton, let's say that as you're kind of fending off this creature, you can see Alindra like kind of scampering over sort of behind it, and then further behind in the darkness of the cave you can see the kind of the shadow of Serix Atio, and you can see him kind of like a couple of the lizard creatures sprawled over the ground at his feet, and he has another one of them not lifted off the ground, but he has one huge hand around the creature's throat and is kind of pushing it up back, so its hind legs are kind of scrabbling at the moss on the floor, and with his sword he's just thrusting relentlessly in and out of its body all the way through to the other side. He has an expression on his face that suggests he is enjoying himself greatly. So, Askarai, I believe we're back round to you, friend.
Okay, I'm going to make another feint attack of this thing, hopefully. Again, I need 18. I got 18 exactly, so I think that hits.
Yeah, should do. Sorry, my cat is coughing, if anyone is concerned. Don't worry, he's fine.
Okay. I'll roll my damage, which is a D8 and a D4. I only got 5 damage, so
you're unable to penetrate those fearsome scales, I'm afraid. Elindra, you get a flanking attack on this one, fighting Anton now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, this is engaging or coming into combat range with a new enemy, and presume an advantage because I'm flanking as well, right? So that's
correct. So you get your free attack with advantage, and then a normal attack with advantage, I think. Lovely. Right?
That's my understanding, but I wanted to check that with you, but sure. So yes, that is an easy success on the attack roll, and damage is 11.
Yeah.
That's for the first one. Oh wait, no, sorry, there's another D4 in there as well. 14.
Yes, 14 you say. So that is reduced by that. It's over its pain threshold. Take another free attack.
I think we're just going for it. I'm inspired by Serex's relentless hacking.
Absolutely. So. This will be flanking as well, so.
Lovely. Okay. That is a success on the attack, and 13 again. Gosh.
13 again, you say?
For the damage, yeah.
For the damage. Well then, how the tables are turning. well, not turning, but certainly dying easier. So, yeah, you stride in behind the one facing Anton, and with your first blow, kind of like just now that you've kind of got the measure of these creatures a bit more, and when they're not rushing you, when you can attack them, you can definitely get a much more vulnerable and heavy strike on them. And with kind of a big kind of overhead swing, you pinion your sword around, with a revolving stroke and just thrust it into the creature's back, kind of aiming along the side of the spine. The scales part and you almost pin the creature to the floor with one blow. And then you grab said sword and just lever it backwards and forwards, and you hear something crack. You hear a deep kind of vibrating hiss, and the creature isn't dead, but it's just kind of thrashing faintly on the ground with apparently only its forelegs able to move. It's gonna die. It's just not dead right now, and it's definitely not taking any more part in this combat.
Wonderful. I technically still have the actual attack from my turn now.
Sure. You can take that because you can convert a normal action into a movement action, right? So you could run and engage another one if you wanted.
I think we'll do that. Yeah. Who's next? Let's go with. I don't know who's closest of the other three.
Let's randomize.
I can't picture how we're all laid out.
The closest to you is Steo. Let's say that the layout is literally the okay. what we have here sort of thing in terms of being next to each other. So the next one along is Steo.
Then I will step over to Steo's lizard thing.
Absolutely. Aaron, we're on with you.
Okay. I'm still fighting one, so I will continue to try and
fight it.
Do some damage.
Yeah.
I succeed, but only with 5 damage.
So that doesn't penetrate through the scales. Maybe you try another draw cut, and this time you don't get lucky. Maybe it's just along, the ridge of the scales in a way that doesn't accommodate your blade between them. We have 3 attacks from lizard things to go. One on each of Aaron, Askarai, and Steo. Please roll your defenses, and we'll go with Aaron first.
That is a success on the defense, and 11 damage on my free attack.
Whoo!
Nice.
That's not too bad. 11 damage, you say?
Correct.
Well, you manage another draw cut this time, and you're aiming for roughly the same place, and this time you catch its throat, and there's a slow pulse of that sticky grey ichor out of it that's just kind of, with the slow beats of its heart just kind of like lumping and congealing and running down the side of it. It's still coming for you, though, so clearly these things aren't that bothered by having their throat slit.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I passed mine.
Mm-hmm. How do you do, Askarai?
I also passed. I got another 3.
These defense rolls, I tell you. What are you guys like? Steo, you can see Alindra kind of like about to steal your glory away. What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to stab extra stabby. I pass my attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
My damage is D10 plus 1. 6.
Precisely enough to do no damage. So you may be distracted by Alindra kind of running around behind the thing. You try and thrust low again, but this time it's kind of trying to learn this trick, and it's just hunched over so deep that your spear thrust glances off along one of its legs. Anton, what are you gonna do, friend?
Can I rush towards an enemy and do some?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it. Do the old Russian flank, not Russian flank, but Russian and flank.
Now I didn't make my attack roll, but I rolled an odd number, and I guess it's still worth me doing this because you get
an extra
bonus.
Yeah, you get an extra damage from your backs. Yeah, from the
Is it
flanking.
like D4 that I get for the
D4,
flanking?
isn't it? Yeah.
No, not enough.
Fair enough. Out of interest, though, who were you? Were you rushing to help?
Just the nearest. So yeah, like
So
whoever,
Steo again. Yeah.
probably.
Yep. You rush over to it and kind of wildly flail away to no particular event. Yeah, you're making contact, but it's not penetrating this creature's hide. As for the NPCs, you can see the large lizard is kind of that down the city guard is kind of rolled off, and the young woman who's crushed by it. She's still alive, but she looks in a fairly rough state. And Marvello's trying to kind of like get her to her feet. The city guard kind of howl in unison in renewed fervor and strike forward. It generally seems like the fight is going the way of your group. You can see a couple of like bites and claw marks, but nothing kind of truly too bad. And one of you, let's say it's Steo, you can see Ganderald, the young changeling mage, kind of stepping forward and doing his own kind of like replication of Master Furia's spell, the brimstone pouring forth on a lizard fighting some city guard. It's in no way as impressive as Furia's torrent of boiling hot stone, but it's still doing its work. And you catch like Furia looking, glancing over at him and giving him a sort of a nod that says good enough, satisfactory. So Askarai, I think back round to you again.
Okay, I'm gonna continue to try and get through this thing until Alindra comes over and kills it for me.
Now you know how it feels, Askarai.
I rolled a 19, so I don't even hit it this time. Come on, Alindra.
There we go. A swing and a miss from Askarai. Alindra, finish off this one on Steo, will you?
Yeah, will do. So I've just engaged it, but there is some debate happening backstage about with my current skill set whether I get the free roll when I step in to attack or whether they have to come to me. So
I think we settled. Yes, this was a debate we had with Chris, and I'm fairly sure we settled on the fact that any time anything is engaged, either aggressively or like whether you're receiving the engagement or giving the engagement, you know what I mean. That you get that triggers the long free attack.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure with that, right, Chris?
I thought that was because that means the second level of Polar Mastery does effectively nothing.
No, I think we had this discussion before, and it absolutely does do something. But like, because I think the first level is like once a turn, and then the second level is like anytime you're engaged.
That's true.
But I could be wrong. Let me just have another look. A look see here. Fortunately, I already had it open on it. So the first level of Polar Mastery. Oh no, this is sorry. So the first level is just a damage increase. The second level is free attack against all enemies who come into range of melee combat. Whether it is the enemy who engages the character or vice versa is irrelevant.
So
and we read that as meaning it was relevant before, but that's not true. The key is all enemies who come into range of melee combat. Whereas Long says once per turn, you can do this.
Okay. If you are happy for that to mean that I get a free attack, then we will take that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what we settled on. I'll
also
just double check Long here and make sure it says yes. It says Long says one free attack each turn, whereas the Adept of Polar Mastery is basically you can have that free attack as many times a turn as you want.
All right, fine.
So if 3 things attack you, you get a free attack against each of them with Polar with Adept.
Yes, but only one of them with
only one of them with if it's just a long weapon. Yeah.
So given this one's already engaged to Steo, that sounds wrong. This is another flanking attack.
You could do better, Steo. Yes, it's another flank attack, correct.
Lovely.
Until it compensates on its turn.
That's 2 success, but the damage is woeful. 4 in total.
Woeful. Yep. No, the trick doesn't work again. Maybe you try it again. Maybe you charge forward, but this time your thrust hits the wrong point, and maybe because the thing is hunching over so low and scuttling along the ground to try and counteract the horrible thing Steo is doing to it with its spear. And yep, you don't manage to penetrate those scales.
So do we go again?
Yeah, because that's your free attack.
Yep, lovely. Okay, that is a hit, and that is 8 damage this time.
That's significantly better. So this time, let's say that you're with frustration, you step back and swing, and a great chunk of the thing's tail comes off, and is now twitching and whipping around independently of the creature between your feet.
Delicious.
Lovely stuff. Aaron.
Okay. It's a success with 1 damage.
Again, that striking technique of yours, the draw cut, again, maybe you just kind of lightly glance at this time to no significant success. We're back on the lizard things, folks. So let's have a roll from our leftmost 3 there on defense.
That is a success and a critical fail on the free attack.
Oh, God. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a crit. You failed on this critical attack, which means it gets a free attack on you, and it'll miss that, which means you'll get a free attack, which will be a critical fail. And then, okay. Before we address this filthy clusterfuck, how did Ascarai and Steo do on their defense rolls?
I rolled a 4.
Oh, Steo did not roll a 4. Steo rolled a 20. All right. I think this thing with Aaron is going to get out of control. So we'll deal with Steo first. We'll deal with Steo first. That's a fumble defense. That's the damage received is increased by 3. Okay. So can you roll your armor, please, Steo?
I can. 7. That's not bad.
Okay, it's not bad at all. And you know what? Let's say that kind of intimidated by the amount of people now surrounding it, it makes kind of one last serious, frantic berserk attack on you. It scrabbles forward and snaps in on you and manages to catch the fingers on one of your spear hands in its jaws, just leaving like nasty gashes through the leather that you've got covering them. It's not serious damage. It's only 1 toughness, but it stings like hell. Very coffee cat tonight. Not flavored. So Aaron, Christ. So let's get this right. It hit you, or it's I don't know what's happening already.
It fails to hit me.
Yeah.
I took my opening for an attack.
Yeah.
Did it really badly, so now it can attack me again.
Because you rolled a 20 as well.
Defense.
Because you rolled a 20 as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to roll another defense.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a fail with an armor of 2.
Oh, that's easier. Good. So, yeah, you have a bit of a slap fight with this lizard, or just like a flurry of blows. It swipes with its claws. You deflect off, but as you step away, you feel like you manage to evade that flurry of strikes, and then you glance down and see kind of raked lines that your adrenaline stopped you feeling at first, kind of all scraped along your forearm, deep furrows gouging out flesh and skin. Did you say what did you say you rolled as armor? Sorry, 3. 2. Take 3 toughness, please.
Okay.
Which I'm assuming is not over your pain threshold, because yeah, it'd be pretty rough if it was. Those were their attacks, right? So Steo, it's your turn. Come on,
go.
Come
this
on.
This is the end. It's the end for
Come
Lizard
on.
Friend. Yeah, I hit. Oh my God, 2.
It's not the end. It's not the end. Oh my word! So yeah, another spear thrust that glances off those scales. Antom, make your flight. You know what? I didn't say that it had rounded on the two of you. I said it attacks. It went for Steo, right? So I think the two of you can carry on flanking it for another turn.
I'm a distraction, friends. That's what it's come to for Steo.
So am I. Anton, bait priest. So I make my attack roll.
That's something else. You make your attack roll, did you say?
Yeah.
Don't forget the extra D4 damage for the flanking.
7.
Hey, that's damage. You know, it's just about damage. This time, your flail with a mighty overhead swing leaves kind of deep gouges and like crumpled scales on one side of it. Again, you're not sure you did a huge amount of damage, but definitely more than you've done to this point in the fight. So that's something to be celebrated, right? Right. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. The NPCs, the fight is really turning your way now. The city guard have kind of formed a line again and are striking forward. Serix Atio kind of emerges from the shadows, just doused all across his front in this grey, sludgy blood of these creatures, presumably, which leaves Askarai panicking that Serix is about to be reduced to just his vital humors by this fictional acidic blood.
Askarai says nothing because he doesn't like Serix Atio.
That's fair enough. The warmth you all feel behind you washes over you with a great wave. Mike, how much does your holy aura heal every turn?
I think it's 1d4.
D4? That sounds about right. Everyone who's damaged, can you roll a D4, please, and heal that much damage? Which probably pretty much heals everyone up. So, yeah. Clearly, Father Alfano getting to work behind you all. I'm of two minds on whether to go another round on this, folks. What do you think? Do you want to finish off with one round, or do you get a chance? There's two of these creatures are pretty close to death. Do you want the chance of that glory, or do we want to underline this now that the group has really, taken advantage in the fight?
I need blood.
I do want the glory, but I feel like I'm guaranteed to miss if I say I want the glory.
We'll never know if you don't. It sounds like there's a bit of a taste for another round. We'll do one more round and then clearly this fight is going your way, so we'll wrap up. I don't want to. It's that balancing act, but right between not stealing the fight away from you and also not just. We've been doing this for over an hour, so let's move forward. Let's have one more round then. Askarai, come on. Okay. You're very unlikely to kill your opponent. Let's do it.
We'll see.
Yours is the one that's not near death.
I rolled a 20. I knew it. Glory.
You shouldn't have done. I told you, man. I said, please don't do this, and you just you dragged it out of me. So that's a free attack. So yeah, take your defense roll.
Just insta kill me now. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me roll defense. I rolled a 17, so I do fail my defense.
Good stuff. Why don't you give us an armor roll then?
2d4 for armor. I got a 4.
Okay, that's not too bad. It comes at you, but your Hagranor cloak does a good job of deflecting the blow, but you're left with some it briefly clamped down its jaws on your wrist, but your wrist was kind of wrapped around with the cloak, but the pressure left you with very sore. You don't think the bones are broken, but there's definitely some bone bruising there. Take 1 toughness.
Okay.
So good start. Elindra,
a very valuable lesson about glory hunting this day.
Absolutely. Elindra, Again, I didn't say that it turns. So you get the flanking. Yes.
I get the
So
flanking,
you get the flanking. Yes,
but just the one attack this time because I'm still trying to.
because you've already engaged it. Yeah, that's right.
Steo's glory. Right.
Yeah.
We need a 17. We get a 10. Yeah, so that's a successful attack. But in terms of damage, that is a 5.
That is a 5, which is not enough to penetrate the scales of the beast. You still have a chance, Steo. Aaron first, though. Let's go with Aaron.
Okay. That is hit with 3 damage.
Hit with 3 damage. Unfortunately, as we know, that's not enough to penetrate the scales. So let's move onwards to the lizard things. And again, you know what? I think the lizard creature facing Steo is going to round. And I think we have a kind of informal thing here, folks. It's kind of a homebrew rule that something can only engage two other individuals at once. So in other words, with 3 around it, this lizard is always going to be flanked by one of Steo, Elindra, and Anton. But which one? I think it's going to remain facing Steo, but is going to angle itself slightly so that one of the others isn't flanking it, and that one is going to be Anton. So Elindra is still flanking it, Anton is not. But it is still going to be attacking Steo because it's got a taste for his blood. So those first 3 individuals, give me your defense rolls, please. And Aaron, this is another chance for you to kill it. Solid defense roll from Steo there.
I made it.
I'm commentating on this. Like, amazing defense roll there.
That is a success and a success, but not enough damage.
Okay. So yeah, a flurry between you that results in no damage to the lizard. Steo, friend, you got one more chance of this because we're definitely wrapping up this combat after this round.
Oh my god, I hate this. I hate everything. 6 is a hit. Right, come on, D10. Don't fail me now. 5 + 1 is 6, which is no damage. Good night.
Correct. And let's fast track this. Let's fast track this Farrago by just quickly getting Anton's attack over with here. So you're not flanking it anymore. So
here comes the Hunger Wolf.
Yeah. Well, I made it. Let's do some damage on this bad boy. 2.
Just for a second there, I thought it was going to
cool.
something spectacular.
And let's end this how we started.
Absolutely. So what happens here is basically the city guard push forward. Furia turns and unleashes a wave of flame over the front of the lizards, who rear back in kind of instinctive hatred and fear. On top of that, Serexatio strides in behind them with one great swing of his greatsword, carving almost in half the lizard thing facing Steo, but just insult to injury there. And the rest of the lizards kind of give off a quavering, odd hiss that comes from one of them, like the largest one of them, which was kind of furiously fighting several of the city guard at once. And they all kind of depart and kind of scurry off into the darkness of the cavern. Some of them kind of crawling their way under gaps in the rock, others just kind of vanishing out of view. Still a couple of the others kind of diving into that boiling, kind of bubbling pool of kind of hot spring water, but seemingly feeling no particular ill effects of it as they kind of like in a serpentine fashion swim away under the surface. So Steo. Oh no, the one fighting you's dead. Never mind. I was going to say, do people want their attacks for disengaging? Do Ascarai and Aaron, do you want your attacks for them?
No,
9 damage.
Wrong way round. 6 damage.
Yeah,
Rolled a 9 to hit and did 6 damage.
Well, that's probably for the best because 9 damage would have left it on 1 health. So that would have just been, really.
Ascarai, you do have the bow if you want to do some actual damage to it.
My bow does less damage than my sword.
Oh
it's just that it gets 2 a turn.
Yeah, it's just Yeah,
Yeah, the bow isn't particularly good against like high armor stuff, right? It's just that you get 2 attacks a turn. So against low armor stuff, you can really pile on the damage.
Yeah, if I can go over, because I don't have to move to hit anybody, and if I can go over people's like pain threshold, I can shoot so many arrows. I do loads, but if it's against high armor people, then
Not so good.
Yeah.
So everyone is kind of like gathering themselves. Marvello is still hefting that young guard woman, kind of holding her up, who's kind of muttering that she's fine, she's all right, but she looks in a fairly bad way, not kind of mortally wounded, but certainly unpleasant. Ganderald is kind of blinking and looking around himself wide-eyed. You suspect he hasn't been involved in a conflict like this before. And Serex Atio, for his part, has dragged another flask of dubiously smelling liquid out from his belt and is necking it back at a furious rate.
I'm gonna say to Linda, is your hand okay? The blood.
I mean, it's sticky. I guess I'll go and like run it in with whichever bit of the stream looks like it's not gonna, flay my skin off.
Okay.
I don't know if any of it's cool enough in here to do that, or if I need to wait till we kind of get back downstream.
You probably need to wait until you get a little further to the passageway before you go dunking your hand in this water, for sure.
Yeah. But no, Elindra is clearly unconcerned, other than, she's not going to be able to eat any sandwiches with this hand.
Not immediately, no.
No.
I think I'm mistaken as to what these creatures were, but I'm glad. Good work out there. That was very impressive.
Sorry, Steve?
Well done, Elindra.
Thanks. They were quite tough.
I wouldn't know. I didn't kill any.
It's because they're
Come
quite
on.
tough.
Yeah, that was not easy.
Furia's kind of like knelt down, looking quite closely at them, as is Yagaba, who's kind of like stood off to one side, inspecting the pile of them that Serex dealt with. And Ganderald, who's near you, kind of looks over at you all, kind of blinking a bit still, and says, partly to you all, partly to anyone who listen, to all of these things in the deep dark smell so badly.
I can't quite recall. We've never fought these ones before.
No.
What were they, Askrai? Do you know?
I have
You
no
can go
idea.
ahead and give another. Now that you can see like dead bodies around you and stuff, you can go ahead and make another cunning roll. I'll give you a -1 though, because you.
I still failed. I rolled an 18.
There we go. No, you have no idea. You don't get like a bonus for a particular type or something, do you?
I
can't
think
remember.
that's at a higher. If I get
Okay.
it to a depth, I think
Sure.
I start getting that.
You'd have thought with all this hot water, they'd be somewhat clean at least.
Don't
Well,
expect,
but on the inside,
don't expect
Yeah, they didn't
logic
look
from
like
the forest.
filthy or moldy on the outside or anything. It's just
like lots of things smell on the inside.
So I didn't notice this other passage before. There's a passage there that leads back to the lake, unless I'm mistaken from my look at the map earlier.
you're very mistaken.
Am I mistaken?
Yeah, shall we bring the map up to explain
Yeah.
where we are to people?
Let's look at the map.
So you are in the rightmost cave.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so we're at a dead end.
Yeah. Or well, unless you want to go swimming in an underground hot spring, then yeah, you're at a dead end.
Okay, there's no way around the spring. It
kind of it comes into the cavern and then looks like it may go kind of under, like past the wall into the rock, but going into that hot spring is probably a death sentence, so let alone going through it into whatever lies beyond.
Yeah.
So-
Well, there's the boiling water and also the dogs. So
Yeah, the weird looking dogs. Absolutely.
Back to
So-
the main chamber.
Yeah, we seem to have
Just-
cleared out this cavern as much as we can.
We are all of us to some degree, performers today. So I would suggest we take a trophy for whatever crowd still remains up there. Kind of nod towards one of the bodies.
Yeah,
What do you want?
That shout.
You want a head?
Yeah. It's grim, but look.
My hands are covered in this stuff anyway. I'll take a head.
Sure, yeah, it's easy. Once it's dead, it's perfectly easy to kind of work that blade between the scales and sever a head off. As you're busy doing that, anyone who wants to be near Furia as he's examining the creature hears a sort of grumbling noise coming from him.
Something wrong there, Master?
Not wrong. Interesting. He turns and holds something aloft. It's kind of an odd looking sort of maybe leather strappish thing, and it takes a moment for you to kind of register that it's what seems to be a collar.
Oh,
So they are
dear.
dogs.
I knew it.
I knew someone would say as soon as I said that they were weird dogs. I knew, knowing that this was coming, I knew that would get a laugh at someone.
That's bad news. We just killed somebody's pet.
Jezite symbols on it.
Well, they're not big fans of us anyway, so I suppose that's the best outcome.
No sign of their masters here, though.
Perhaps they left the creatures when they departed. Marvello kind of walks over to where you are kind of cutting heads off reptiles and examining their collars and such, and says, if you don't mind, Master Furia, I think we should call it there for a day. Father Alfano has done what he can for my guardswoman, but she needs proper care. We should ascend up to the city again for the night.
Yeah.
Furia kind of looks around in a kind of... Very well. I suppose we can wait the night. Stands up, kind of brushes his robes off from scraps of moss and blood. Is the general notion to make our way back to the sinkhole and make our way up for the evening?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
right.
Definitely hitting evening time, aren't we? So
You are approaching there. You make, and that is apparent as soon as you make your way back to that main cavern, and that shaft of light is kind of barely visible coming down from above. You make your way back to the base camp where Frinda and a couple of the other Theurgs are. They turn their attentions to the guardswoman as well, and everyone starts the kind of slow process of climbing up that sinkhole. It's a lot more difficult than climbing out of it. But I'm not going to make you all roll for it or anything like that. Everyone's taking their time and kind of going up slowly. And it does take some time. Each ascent takes maybe 5 minutes or so for you to clamber your way out. But as you do so, shall we randomize who emerges out of the sinkhole first out of your group? It is Ascarai. And as you're approaching the top, I imagine there's at least a couple of people in front of you. And you can kind of hear a kind of a dull, kind of muted roar as they approach and exit from the top. And as you do so yourself, you can see the barricades are still there around the sinkhole. There's still quite a lot of people standing there waiting for the heroes of the sinkhole to emerge. Definitely much less than there were this morning, though. A lot of people got bored waiting. But enough that there is still kind of cheers. You can't see any of the various dignitaries who were here this morning still here, but there's plenty of kind of city guard and a few scattered members of the Order Magica and the Temple of Prios, who kind of like grab you as you come to the top and sort of heave you up onto the side. Is anyone doing anything in particular as they come to the top? And I'll you know what, we'll just go around in order. Ascarai, are you doing anything in particular as you emerge out from the sinkhole?
I think since I was one of the first up, I'd probably turn around to help people coming up behind me get up over the edge. one later.
Sure, that sounds absolutely fine. My cat has moved on from coughing to meowing loudly and tearing apart paper, as is his wont. The next person to the top out of all of you, and again, I need a 1 to 4. Just roll 5, 5, 5. There we go. Steo, you are the next to reach the top out of this group of you. Anyway, is there anything you're doing in particular?
I'm going to. Are the dignitaries behind us, or let's say the dignitaries are the NPCs, Serix and the like, behind us, or did they come?
I will. Is there any one of them in particular you're looking for, and I'll roll a die for them. But
where is Serix?
Serix is, he's further down, still climbing up out.
He's behind me. Okay, I'll just survey the crowd, see if there's anyone I recognize there.
Give me a vigilant roll.
Oof. No, not at all. 15.
Nope.
Needed a 9.
No one there that you recognize. The next person to reach the top is Elindra. Is there anything in particular you're going to do?
How big are these heads?
Probably like I'm trying to think of a comparable sized creature, like a lion, maybe, like in terms of mass. So like I want to say, they're hefty heads, but you're a strong young woman. You can hold one up or whatever.
So I think
especially if it's on the end of your sword or something.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just how I get it kind of up in the rope, whether we have a bag big enough for a
you can like hang it off you and like kind of climb yourself up. It's fine.
So I will kind of haul up. I will look around to see, I don't know if there are any bystanders or anybody that generally is expecting some form of show.
Sure.
Will lift their head up.
Absolutely. Why don't you give us a persuasive roll at a +5?
That it's a head that's worth looking at. Let's see. I need a 12. I get a 9, so that's good.
Yeah, you lift that up and you hear kind of like ripples and kind of gasps among the crowd near you, and then you hear like starting near you. So you just hear like a young, the voice of a young boy in the crowd go, "It's a dragon's head." And there's like this ripple of like cheering and applause and kind of, the heroes of this world.
Elindra Dragon Slayer, is it?
Mainly my motivation is to steal any thunder that Serix might try to bring up out of the hole with him. So
sure, yeah. I mean, mainly what he's bringing is just his drunken self. But absolutely. The next of you to emerge is Anton. Anton, what are you going to be doing on emerge?
I think I'll probably be conversing with like other members of the party, perhaps like members of the Auto Magica or the City Watch who want to like see the map that I've drawn or compare notes.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Ganderald is very interested. Well, he's the one who asked you to map, right? And he immediately kind of walks over to the side with you and kind of looks over and goes, this is fine work, Father. This is exceptional work. Would you like a copy of my notes are in Mage's script at the moment, I'm afraid, but would you like a copy of them? Assuming that Master Furrier allows it, of course.
That would be marvelous, and I think I can probably make some sense of those.
Yes, that would be good. I'll see if I can copy them out tonight, but otherwise it might be later in the week. But this is superb work. Thank you so much. Aaron, you are one of the last to emerge. Marvello is probably maybe the only one behind you. What are you doing when you reach the top?
I was going to turn around and help the NPCs, but
you help Marvello?
Marvello's. Yeah, why not?
Sure. You reach down and he kind of grasps your arm and says, "Oh, thank you, Sadar," and kind of heaves himself up and looks around and immediately starts kind of calling out orders to the city guard. Another guard captain who probably no one really here knows except Steo, and I'm not going to go to do the work of going to look up his name. But Steo, you recognize him, and he comes over and it's like mutters something in Marvello's ear. Marvello nods and says, "Party, please gather around. All in the expedition, please.
Shuffle tiredly over.
There is an inn still open nearby. All the rooms have been purchased for our evening by Night Pitch himself. He has paid out richly for food and drink for us. If we could remain there for the evening, and then in the morning, I suppose we'll go look at that lake again."
Shoot a kind of pensive glance at, I don't know, who's my most conspiratorial friend in the group. I don't know. I'll shoot a pensive glance at Ascarai because he always ends up getting labored with the dodgy dealer aspect.
I will look back. I might, if we get a chance to talk very quietly between ourselves, I'd say I think we go with them for now. We can always go to another place later.
Never against a nice free feed up after a hard day's work. Shall we head over?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. And I'm just trying to add some wonderful flavour to this by finding the name of a really nice tavern near here. No
nice taverns near here.
It's not the particularly nice tavern.
Check out nicetavern.com for
nicetavern.com. You know what? Yeah, you're escorted through and away, and the kind of crowd parts as the city guard forces them to do so, and you make your way through the streets of Thistlehold. As you do so, can everyone but Steo please roll a vigilant at let's say a -3, because none of you were inclined to do a similar thing.
Fail.
Hard fail.
Nope. Never mind. That's fine. You make your way through the streets towards a tavern called Odavakar, which is another barbarian establishment. So maybe you'll feel more at home there, given that you're usually at the Witch and Familiar. I'll read you the blurb for Odavakar. If you want to eat like a true barbarian, you should head to Odavakar, at least according to the loyal guests at the tavern and the owners themselves, the barbarian siblings Varama and Melkor. Here you order tender slices of barbecued meat, steaming bowls of stewed root vegetables or other dishes flavored with forest spices and truffles. A speciality is the puff pastry-covered sweet spicy mushroom pies, originating from the owner's clan. I never know how to pronounce this. Odova. I'm not sure. We must have pronounced this
Odav,
considerably because Ephanea was an Odav. The clan Odeova, let's call it that. These pies are preferably eaten according to the clan custom. Eat first, drink later. A challenge for anyone who is not used to the burning hot dishes of the Odavs. You yourself, Steo, as a long-standing individual of the city, know that it's got a good reputation, but also it's often a target of everything from scorn and derision to vandalism due to being a barbarian-owned establishment. But the Night Pitch's policy has made it clear over the years everyone allowed to live inside the palisade are first and foremost residents of the hold. So the city guard do protect it where they can, and in this case, that no one is causing trouble in this place tonight because there are city guard already posted outside, and almost all the members of the expedition party enter there. You notice that at some point on the way, Furia and Ofano have made their own way off. Difficult to tell a master of the Order Magica and the first Theurg of Thistlehold where they're going to spend the night. But for the rest of you, this seems to be it. Serex Atio has joined you as well as Ganderald. Oh, Yagaber is gone as well. Mayor Night Pitch's consort isn't slumming it in a tavern. But the rest of you are there. You're seated down, and it seems the entire establishment has been paid for the evening. There are no other guests there. There is a roaring fire in that central room, which heats you up very well indeed. And the ODAV servers are already bringing out, a lot of all those foods I described, which the smell, the improvement in smell over your clothing and your armor is incredible. You're informed that upstairs are kind of rooms that have been laid out for you. Hot baths have been boiled up and poured for you if you want to wash before dinner. And they're even waiving their customary insistence on their own customs, because you can start drinking before you start eating if you want. Generally, you feel as if this is a considerable amount of money has been put down in order to lay out this for you. You're not used to such fine treatment, even as successful treasure hunters as you now are.
Let's try and maneuver ourselves onto... is it table service, or are we in kind of Witch and Familiar style?
You know what? I'll say that he's different from Witch and Familiar. These siblings have made a bit more of an effort to try and acclimate themselves to Ambrian custom, and like the main serving area is like 3 of their large tables, like bench style tables that have all been kind of pushed together, so the entire expedition can like sit on one and be served with this stuff, which looks to be piping hot. So if anyone does want to go and actually wash themselves clean, the food won't be cold by the time they return.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely take the offer for a bath, because it's probably been a couple of months.
Yeah, probably.
As soon as possible, we'll try and get everyone around a table together for scheming.
Yeah, so you find yourself upstairs. You see like the rooms that have been laid out for you, which seem to have been fancied up from... You're fairly sure Odaveka usually doesn't have... You're not even sure it has rooms for hire, but if it does, these have been laid out a great deal better than they usually are. And there's several different chambers, including one you can claim as your party, and then there's one large room which has several kind of steaming baths in it. And anyone who wants to go in there can do so. Several of the city guard, including Marvella, will take up that offer as well, and even Ganderald, who kind of looks around nervously and doesn't kind of like remove his clothes, but instead just kind of like washes himself over and he didn't get a lot of blood on him, but what blood is, he's kind of almost feverishly washing off his hands and his face.
Damn right, says Ascarai. I'll kind of be washing my armor as I wash myself in the bath. It's kind of coming in with me for a good scrub, because look, infantryman.
Yeah. Sure. Serix Atio doesn't bother. It may be a surprise to no one.
Isn't he like dripping head to toe in?
Yeah, and as soon as he came into Odavaka, he just stripped off the plate on top of his just kind of a tunic and just let it crash to the floor beside the door, and then strode over and immediately started downing great gulps of Odav spirits in between bites of sort of tender strips of barbecued meat.
Right.
So can we get our scheming table, I suppose, in the
Sure, like everyone will be at the same table, but you can... I'm guessing you want to situate yourself away from Serix, and that's perfectly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be at like the opposite end from him, but you'll have some city guard near you, and probably Ganderald as well.
So I think a bit of decorum here, so probably no overt scheming for the meanwhile.
Yeah, can wait till back in the room maybe.
I don't know how much scheming there is to do. I mean, we did a day's work today. We've got some more to do tomorrow. Did I miss something? Like, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Completely agree.
So you're going to get up to your room and Theo's going to go, tomorrow morning, we kill all of them. Slit Elfano's throat, throw him in the lake.
I've been playing a long con with the lake, right?
Inevitable betrayal starts now. I suppose whatever happens at the table happens, but I do want to have a kind of surreptitious chat with the group at some point before we finish the night.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's fine. Is anyone kind of engaging in a particular conversation or wanting to talk to anyone while everyone shares the meal? The city guard are eating like, it's the finest food they've ever had. It probably is for most of them. Marvello is kind of like moving, kind of changing his seating and moving amongst his troops and kind of sharing words of what sound like encouragement with each of them. The young guardswoman who was wounded badly is nowhere to be seen, presumably off at the Sun Temple or something like that. Speaking of which, there's probably those two young Theurgs and a couple of other Ordo Magica novices who are also there and maybe feeling a little out of the place with the boisterous table manners and talk of the city guard. But does anyone want to talk to anyone, have any kind of interaction? Or
I definitely don't want to be unfriendly, so I'll be joining in with the jokes with the guards and that kind of thing.
Acknowledge people and sort of small talk and stuff, but
sure, but nothing that needs to be role played.
Yeah,
I think I would like to talk to Sarix Atio, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to sit at the far end of the table and just steal glances at him every now and again.
Sure.
Longing, wistful glances.
Stop. So once
the romance we didn't know we needed.
Not quite.
Pretty sure we do. Anyway.
If no one wants any particular talk or scenes, we're welcome to be kind of up in a candlelit room upstairs with some fairly comfortable beds in it, fresh and clean and laid out for you all, so you can spend the night in safety and comfort. Steo, I believe there was some plotting you wanted to do.
I really do not want to spend the night here in safety or comfort. I'd feel much safer back at the Witch and Familiar.
Why?
I just have several bad feelings about a whole heap of different interactions and intersections here. I don't like the fact that there was an entire army of barbarians beneath the city that rose up. It's just all sketchy stuff. There's too much stuff I don't understand, and I want to be somewhere where I have connections and trust.
Counterpoint. People have actively been hunting us at the Witch and Familiar. Another counterpoint. Do you want to offend Night Pitch?
Night Pitch isn't going to be offended if we slink off. We're not that important. Night Pitch would have been offended if we didn't show up. I'm fairly confident.
I have to say, I do share a kind of gut feeling that this is a bad place to be. Although logically, there's more guards here, and people already know we stay at the Witch and Familiar. I think
there are literally city guards posted outside,
and another 5 asleep next door.
Yeah.
Steve, this is our payment for a day's work, and it's very handsome payment for a day's work. I think we should try and enjoy it while we can. Not every job gives us perks like this.
Perhaps we could just have one of us stay awake in the room and be alert. Not the whole night. Take it in
I'll
turns,
settle for posting a watch.
I think that's as safe as we can get.
The usual kind of way you do at the Witch and Familiar and other places that you stay. Absolutely.
I think we have no guarantee that all of that business with the cults is over and done with. So I think that's only sensible. But on balance, I feel safer here than I do at the Witch and Familiar.
I do have some. I'm concerned about the mages and what they seem to know already and their interest in this lake. I think we'll need to be very alert tomorrow. They clearly know something that they're not telling the rest of the party. And we've seen firsthand how the Ordo Magica sometimes will bite off more than it can chew.
Yeah, we're in the middle of that. And to counter your points, like, maybe we don't like the Witch and Familiar because we're known there, but Alamar kind of owes us, and has been nothing but accommodating to us since the day we killed a lot of forest abominations on his turf. I don't know. I'll settle for a watch posted, but maybe I'm just getting paranoid in my old age. But I prefer my payment in a coin purse, not in treatment above my station.
I'm very much expecting the coin purse tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
I'll take first watch if you like.
I'll take second. Askrai, will you finish us up?
Yep, no problem.
All right then. You all, accounting for the watch, you all fall asleep and spend a night, I guess, either restful for those of you taking advantage of this luxury, or restless for those of you slightly more anxious and paranoid about it. Either way, you don't hear anything beyond a few snores from the rooms around you, including one very long, strident and loud one that lasts for a couple of hours that you suspect is being committed by a very large man who is probably collapsed drunk on a pallet. And the next morning, as Askarai's watch is coming to an end, there is a soft tap on the door of your room.
Is everyone awake, or am I only?
I'm happy for people to be kind of waking up, and
Okay, I will just open the door slightly.
It is Captain Marvello. He is not kind of fully armored up yet, but kind of in his guard leathers and kind of with, he's got a dagger at his hip, but he's not carrying his sword and his shield. He sort of, as you open the door, says, "Can I come in?"
Yeah. Is everything okay?
Fine. He kind of looks around in the corridor a little and walks into your room, looks around at you all, presumably in various stages of kind of still sat in bed or getting up or what have you. So
I had not removed my armor, or I had put my armor back on after dinner because I was on watch.
So obviously it was good work from everyone down there yesterday. Not particularly looking forward to today, but a job still got to be done. I wouldn't be doing my duties if I didn't ask what you lot are up to. Seen around the city, involved in this. The riot with the preacher. Heard talk of trouble out in Glimmervan. You come back from Glimmervan the same day. I'm not looking to arrest anyone. I'm sure whatever you're doing is not against the laws of Thistlehold. Just, I'm a captain of the guard. It concerns me.
I know you hate this phrase as much as I do, but it's kind of agency business.
Look, we were all at the gate when the witches arrived. I brought you out because I trust you. If there's something happening in my city, especially if we can help.
I'm kind of looking around a bit hurt almost.
I can go on better than Steo's prepared to. I'm not going to just say that it's agency. It's this whole business. We have been investigating the circumstances surrounding the appearance of the sinkhole. We have been trying to get some answers. Getting those answers, or trying to get those answers, has involved us having to do some unusual favors for some unusual people, which from the outside looking in may have made our movements look somewhat erratic. But all of it has been about the sinkhole. Does that help?
It does, and it's more or less what I suspected it to be. Is there anything the guard can help with? There's been trouble in the city in the days since the sinkhole. Obviously, the unrest with the preacher. Rumors of cults.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Do you believe the guard is free of the influence of cults? We've struggled with this in our own investigations.
With cults in the guard?
Not in the guards, but in places we wouldn't expect.
Obviously, if I had any hint of it in the guards, I'd have flushed them out by now, but no, just... There was the... Mahira told us about the incident with one of your own. But they're not the only ones. There's been rumors of more activity. There's been killings related to some rumored assassin brought in from outside. And then there's the trouble in Blackmoor, which I don't even want to have to deal with the Red Eye right now.
What is the Red Eye?
Some goblin and ogre cult out in Blackmoor, whipping up trouble recently.
Were they the ones that were harassing the what's the name of the bar, the service station we always go to on the way to Glimmervine?
Jackat's Heart.
Were they the ones who were harassing Jackat's Heart? Didn't they have an eye on them? Didn't someone say that?
They had.
I was gonna ask for a cunning roll, but like, do you say that in front of Marvello? Like, describe like the yellow ragged robes and like the
I more
red
or less just say that
scrawled
because
over.
it's kind of in the back of Steo's head, but I don't have an accurate description of the thing.
And I think someone had definitely mentioned the Red Eye to you before. Well, it was the elf, right?
The elf,
to wear the Red Eye. That's them. Yellow ragged robes. A red eye.
Reach.
Well, they claim it to be an eye. It just looks like a daubed splotch to me.
Well, then, seems their reach extends further than Thistlehold, because didn't we catch them at Jacket's Heart?
We did. And we have been told, without much in the way of detail, but they are involved in all of this in some way. It's not unconnected.
You want to find out why?
Tomorrow, I want to go down that hole again, but after that...
Tomorrow, well, today we all go down that hole. Aye.
Good morning.
Do you want to help with the Red Eye?
I want to
Because I've been looking for people to help
town.
me with the Red Eye.
I want to help protect this town, if that means I have to go to Blackmoor again, and if the party agree.
If they're involved with your business and you want to help, I can authorize an expedition into Blackmoor to finally deal with them.
Oof.
So far, they've just been troublemakers and big talkers. But I'm concerned about any cult that gets its fingers into Blackmoor or Thistlehold. And if you think they're stitched up in this somehow, I can get authorization from the mayor. I can go out there with some guards. I can bring you lot with me, and we can, well, deal with them. Yes, I can secure pay for you.
I'd be happy to go and help you.
All right then.
Let's work tomorrow's job tomorrow. We'll need to think about this and have a chat.
Sorry, Captain. What was that you said about an assassin?
Oh, yeah, well, there is also an assassin, yes.
Just rumors. Some killer brought in. Criminals talk. Especially the superstitious ones.
I conspicuously throw a glance around the room.
I'm trying to remember now if like I shared what the elf. I think I would have said what the elf told us at the murder scene, right? Like, would I have?
Maybe. Well, you share
Unfortunately-
again.
Fortunately, I've forgotten in and out of character, so I'm fine to let you continue to play a bit of mystery.
Worryingly, so have I.
The thing is, what I don't want to do is in front of Marvello be like, yeah, remember like that elf that we spoke to that killed that guy? Like, that's too much.
I think, the tricky bit here is in character, is negotiating paratextually.
Oh, I see. Does Alindra maybe think that elf is the assassin?
No.
Oh,
the elf mentioned an assassin.
Did the elf mention an assassin? Okay, my bad. My bad.
The elf at least mentioned that cults are trying to kill us.
I think the elf specifically said the assassin was to kill us. I think.
That's right. I think.
So, how do we communicate this without communicating this? Look, Marvello, you've noticed we've been poking around in this. The cults have as well, and we're pretty much marked. So, in terms of what you can do, just let us know if you find anyone following us around. We've already had 2, 3 really clumsy attempts to take our lives.
I'll look. You're citizens of Thistlehold. I'll do whatever I can in my job to protect you, but outside of that, I don't mean to be mercenary, but you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. I'll dig around about this assassin. You come help me deal with this red eye, which sounds like it's something you want to take care of anyway. But Steo has the right of it. Let's focus on today.
I think we've been hearing similar things and coming to similar conclusions and have similar goals for the outcome of all of this.
Aye. And we best deal with it now. It's going to be a cold, hard winter.
Yeah.
Let's go below again.
Yeah. My pitch is paying for breakfast, isn't he? Come on, lads.
That he is. And I suppose that's our breakfast cliffhanger. What would you eat for breakfast? No, we'll pick up again next week as you delve for a third time below Thistlehold, and maybe we will discover secrets on the shores of that dark lake below. In the meantime, folks, if you have any comments or questions for us, please sling them into the chat and we'll talk about them before we go offline. Well, I believe we have Sam, do you want to depart now? Is that your...
Yes, I do have to go, but it's
your plan, you filthy part-timer. Yes.
Very fun session.
Thank you, Sam. And we will see Sam again next week. So, in the meantime, let me get my promo out of the way and my thanks for follows and stuff like that. So we have had a few followers today. We had Enfest, Ophelinology, T-Bliss 2012. We had a resubscription from Azimuth. Thank you, Steve, for 13 months of subscription. With the comment, 13 months and Mike's dice rolls still scare me. We also have, as I mentioned before, either H. Aberg or Haberg, I'm not sure how you prefer it pronounced, but your 6-month tier 1 subscription. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Like I say, I think that's the first multi-month subscription we've had. So, first, like a I don't know. I'm trying to compare it to people writing first on a YouTube comment, but this is actually more meaningful and significant, so it's much better. Promo. If you check down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to Twitch and to YouTube. You're watching this on one. Please check out the other, but in particular, if you're watching on Twitch and you delve into our YouTube, we now have thousands and thousands of hours, probably hundreds, I don't know, whatever. A lot of content. We've got over a year's worth of various campaigns, various one-shots and stuff. Please do check them out if you're interested at all. There are also links to our social media, to our Discord, to our Patreon. We've got a lovely little community now on Discord. If you want to join us, that would be great. We also run 3 weekly campaigns here on Twitch. Each of them starts at 8 o'clock GMT in the evening. Mondays is Shadows of Estrin, which Johnny runs, which is a low fantasy gothic game from Studio Agate. We have Symbaroum, here on Wednesdays. I don't need to talk about that. You just saw it. On Thursdays, we've recently started our new anthology series, which is an anthology of old World of Darkness setting stuff. Story arcs, each of them related, called the Cincinnati Chronicles, which are taking place in the same city on the same day in the summer of 1995, skipping between vampire, werewolf, mage, wraith, and changeling. We're about to wrap up vampire and we'll kick off werewolf next week. So yeah, come join us for that. It's slightly experimental, very complicated, and a lot of fun to run so far, but just give it a few months for my brain to start leaking out of my ears. In addition to that, on the first weekend of every month, we run a one-shot, various different systems, a bunch of them over on YouTube if you want to go watch those. We've done Troika and The Expanse and Honey Heist and Dune and Morkborg and Wanderhome and other things as well. And we've got the next one of those is coming on Sunday, the 5th of December. It's a sequel to one we did earlier in the year. The first one we did, in fact, which was the Alien system from Free League, which is a lovely little system. We ran a story called A Place of Burning back in February. And on Sunday, the 5th of December, we're going to be streaming this direct sequel to it, which will literally pick up about 48 hours after the events of the first story, and have the entire crew coming along for that as well, who are in the first one, which I think out of this group is just John. But otherwise, we've got Steve and Justin and Pierre and Alex along for that. Yes, that's all my promo. Finally, there we go. John, why don't you start flashing up some comments for us, please?
Okay.
Sauerkraut Kid, good to see you. Pretty sure Mike's roles scare Mike the most. Yeah, probably.
That was a impressively terrible combat round all around.
It was, and everyone else was almost flawless, apart from their damage rolls.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, everyone was rolling low across the board, not like Symbaroum good.
Yeah,
like roll low on the D20, roll high on everything that isn't the D20.
Speak for yourself, Chris. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve says, Mike, just don't bother.
I mean, honestly, that was like. There's been a couple of times when Anton's just been like stuck in a really ineffective combat loop, but like that was something else. I mean,
yeah, Mike commenting. Yeah, even by my standards, this is poor. Yeah, again, it's just like Anton's not going to be much good against things with high armor, just because it just doesn't do the damage, even when he hits, sort of thing. So, but that's something that can be mitigated. Like as you go down flail mastery, I think the damage on it goes up. Right? Is that correct or? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. But I actually, I don't have flail mastery.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's perhaps something to. Let's have a quick look because I think it's in.
I think that, doesn't flail mastery allow you to ensnare people? Or something
yeah, like stuff like that kind of. So it's a bit more like utility. It's called flailer. So let's go through this. Why not? So the novice, yeah. In novice, it just means that the jointed weapon gains ensnaring. And basically, I think that means you can restrain individuals rather than do damage to them, which sounds maybe like a good choice.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I did look at this a few months ago, but I think that requires like a strength roll, which Anton would be absolutely
it might do. I don't know.
For that.
Yeah. The passive, the adept is a passive that means jointed weapons deal a D8 instead of a D6. And the master means that you can use a jointed weapon to continue to strike even after having hit a target. So yeah, basically any enemies engaged with you, you can roll to hit each of them.
Wow. I feel like Steel, my build here has really tapered off in power.
Maybe, but you're not kind of designed to kill stuff anyway, are you? You're
but I'm not
to tank and hold things off.
I'm not much of a tanker either way because my defense is a flat 10.
I think you are because you can do that, knocking them out of range and then they come back in. I think it's just like your thing is better against multiple opponents and like holding them in place. But it's just not what happened today. So yeah. I think you're all right.
Maybe I'll have my time in the sun yet, but this was kind of my goal build, and it's not been great. Let's continue on our journey.
Give it a bit more. Continue on your journey.
Remember, it's not too late to go for an exceptional attribute and up some of your actual stats. Or I suggested to Mike in chat earlier, trying to find something that uses not your accurate as your attack stat. That might not be a bad shout if you want to actually hit things.
Yeah.
Oh no, my accurate is my top stat. It's 15. So
I think John was talking to Anton.
That
though.
was
oh yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah.
of course, Anton, you could just get more mystical powers as well. Night Bites, good to see you. Yay, catching a recent episode. I may only be just starting this arc on YouTube, but I'm happy to catch a live combat clusterfuck or not. It wasn't. It was a grind rather than like no one got horribly hurt, but at the same time they were tough little assholes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The drama was in the dice, not in the drama for that one.
yeah. Drama dice.
Also, playing games with you just makes me want to roll low damage, because when you roll high damage and then you describe what happens when you roll high damage, I just want to retire and go and live somewhere where I don't have to kill anything.
That's fair enough.
You
Fair
feel
enough.
Sympathy for those poor creatures.
People tune in just for my gory descriptions. Let's not pretend that there's anything else to it.
I did enjoy at one point. It looked like you made Chris physically sick.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Steve, I reckon you could style out a Lindra dog slayer. We'll get people talking in the taverns.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I don't know if it's too early in the campaign to get a sort of heroic nickname yet, but
Oh, you're
Especially a
absolutely-
spurious one.
Spurious, that's the best kind.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I like Dragon Slayer though. I think that one's going to stick.
Yeah.
Can I make a contact roll to try and make sure that one sticks around?
Yeah, to try and say, yeah, we killed a dragon down there. Yeah, absolutely.
No. Elindra killed the dragon. down
Okay. Yeah,
there. She brought
I
the
feel
head.
like Dog Slayer will keep her more grounded, though. Like
absolutely. Steve just laying into Mike tonight.
Oh my God.
I don't have flail mastery, says Anton. We know, replies audience.
Mike, what have you done to Steve?
Oh,
How have you offended him?
Hey, this is all box office stuff as far as I'm concerned.
yeah. Mike is absolutely happy to settle for infamy, not fame. So I wouldn't worry about it. We got anything else, John? Probably
I think
should
that's all
start
the
wrapping up.
ragging on Anton for now.
For now. We'll get some more next week.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of next week, please join us then next Wednesday for more Symbaroum. Thank you for watching. Thanks to my wonderful players. Thanks to everyone who followed and went in chat and everything and subscribed and stuff tonight. And we'll see you next week for more Symbaroum. Bye, everyone. Take care.